In today's conversation, we're talking about something that may not sound super glamorous at first, but trust me, it's one of those behind the scenes things that can make or break whether someone actually books you from your website. We're diving into website speed. Yep, how fast your site loads, and why it's one of the most important and most overlooked pieces of your online presence for keeping potential clients on your page and out of your competitors' inboxes. Now, before you zone out thinking, okay, this sounds like it's going to be a pretty techie episode for me, I promise this episode is totally doable. Like the steps I'm going to give you are totally doable. I'm breaking it all down into 7 super simple things you can do right now, no coding experience necessary, or you can just send this episode over to your website designer if that's easier, to make your website faster, smoother, and more trustworthy. Welcome, Petpreneur, to the Pet Marketing Unleashed podcast. I'm your host, Michaela Vargas, founder, designer, and educator behind Pet Marketing Unleashed. This podcast is all about growing your pet business without the stress. Here, you'll find episodes packed with actionable tips and advice for streamlining your online presence, avoiding burnout, and onboarding new clients while you're away from your desk or out with the dogs. So pop in those earbuds and learn stress-free marketing and website strategies with me while you head out on your next dog walk, pet sitting visit, drive to your next session, or just wherever your pet business takes you next. Let's dive in. All right, let's start with the most obvious question here. Why does your website speed even matter? Between AI-generated answers, instant Google results, Reels and TikTok clips that are under 30 seconds, attention spans online have exponentially shrunk, like 2 seconds. So if your site is taking more than 2 seconds to load, most people are going to click away before they even see your information, your pricing, your business, any of it. That means that a slow website could literally be the reason you're not getting as many inquiries as you could be. So let's make sure that is not happening. No matter what website platform you use, most of you guys know that I love Wix, but whether you're using Wix, Showit, WordPress, Squarespace, these 7 tips will help your website load faster and keep those potential clients around longer. So let's get into those fixes. The first thing to check is for broken links. You want to regularly fix broken links and audit your site. Broken links do not just frustrate visitors, they can actually drag down your site's performance and SEO. You want to think of them like digital clutter taking up space. So I recommend running a quick audit every few months to make sure that all of your links still work on your website, whether it's your booking link, contact page, blog links, any external links, or links to documents or things like that that can take a long time to load, especially if they're looking for a file or a link that doesn't even exist anymore. That can drag down your site speed. You can use free tools like brokenlinkcheck.com to scan your entire site in a few minutes and get those fixed. All right, next up, we want to minimize plugins, HTML snippets, and third-party apps. If you are on WordPress, this is a big one. Every single extra plugin or app that you run, it runs in the background, even if you're not using it. So if you're not using all these apps, or maybe you're only using it and it's not really doing much, it's just slowing down your site for no reason. So take a few minutes to review what is connected to your site and ask yourself, do I actually use this feature? Is it helping my website? If it's not, unload it, delete it. And for my Wix users who are listening, the platform now automatically flags outdated or redundant apps for you, which is cool. Makes this cleanup process even easier. All right, number 3, we want to simplify or reduce your animations, parallax scrolling, and slideshows. These are all like the movement pieces of your websites. And I love a good scroll animation as much as the next designer, but too many can cause lag, especially on mobile. We've had it where clients have really wanted a lot of this animation and movement as you scroll through the site. And then once we actually preview the site and publish it, it looks like it's not even loading for some people. And that's not what we want, because then you lose some features. Sometimes you don't even see the text, right? So we need to reduce that and only use the minimal amount of animation. So this includes things like scrolling effects, image slideshows, fancy transitions, things like that. And I'm not saying you can't use any movement at all. Sometimes subtle animation really helps keep the brand playful and engaging, things like that. But moderation is key, and we only want to use it on pieces where it really enhances the user experience. And if you're using videos on your site, we want to prioritize embedding them from YouTube or Vimeo instead of uploading them directly into your website as videos like MP4 files. because uploading video files directly to your site is literally one of the fastest ways to tank your load speed time. And this is particularly true for dog trainers who like to do a lot of videos on their website to showcase different things that they do in terms of dog training. So just keep that in mind with videos. If you can upload them to YouTube or Vimeo or even Loom or any other sort of video software first and then embed them into your site, it's going to use less load speed time than if you were to just upload that file to your website. All right, number 4. If you only do one thing from this episode, let this be the one. We want to compress your images before you upload them into your website. Large image file sizes are usually the number one reason that websites load slowly. So before uploading any image, we want to run it through a free tool like compressor.io or tinypng.com. We'll link all of these links, of course, for you that we mentioned in this episode in the show notes. But those are 2 free ones that you can use. And this is even the case if you have a photographer that sends you photos, we do not want to just automatically upload those into your website. We want to compress them first, especially professional photography, because they are likely sending you really large image sizes because they're really high quality. But when you compress images, you can dramatically reduce the file size without losing the visual quality. So don't worry about that when you are compressing these images. You'll keep the same quality, but just reduce the file size. Quick pause here. Since we're talking about website performance, this is the perfect time to remind you that your website can't just be fast, it also needs to get found. If your site isn't showing up in Google searches or it's not high enough or SEO just feels confusing or overwhelming, our SEO course for pet businesses walks you through exactly what to do step by step. It's designed specifically for pet care providers like dog walkers, pet sitters, dog trainers, and other pet professionals who want to boost their visibility without hiring an agency or spending hours on tech jargon or just avoiding it altogether because it just sounds confusing. It's totally not. You'll learn how to optimize your pages, find the right keywords, and get more eyes and clients on your website, all in a super straightforward, step-by-step, pet business-friendly way. If you want more information, you can check it out at petmarketingunleashed.com/SEO-course. That's SEO-course. Or, of course, tap the link in the show notes. All right, let's get back to speeding up your website. And while this doesn't quite have anything to do with your load speed time, I have to add it in here because I love SEO and I love all things accessibility and everything. So your bonus tip as well is rename your photo files before uploading them. So instead of uploading in those file names that are IMG_ with a whole bunch of numbers, try and make it something like dog walker in Los Angeles.jpg before you upload them. That can automatically bring it over to what the image file is and how Google interprets it. And it can also help you write your alt text. So definitely keep that in mind as well. All right, we are plugging along. Number 5, we want to optimize your mobile version. Over 75% of pet owners browse on their phones, not their desktops. So if your mobile version is not optimized, you are losing traffic and you're losing clients. So what I recommend you do here is open up your website on your phone and just see how it feels. Scroll through as if you are a first-time visitor, and you want to make sure that everything's loading quickly. You want to make sure that images are cropped correctly, that if there's any, there might be some elements that don't even appear on mobile, which is not good. And that could be because of site speed time. If you're using a lot of animations, it might not even show up on mobile as it's loading. So with the mobile version, we want to simplify it. If something doesn't fit or it feels very clunky, just hide it on mobile. And your mobile version should essentially just be a clean, easy to navigate version of your main site. The cool thing is Wix automatically suggests layout fixes for mobile, which can make this a lot easier than even it was a few years ago. So keep that in mind. But we just essentially want to make sure that your mobile version is optimized, it's clear, everything is loading properly. Because sometimes what happens is if it takes too long to load, it just won't even load. And then you might just have text boxes missing, things like that. And we do not want that. And that's why we want to keep it pretty simple. Number 6, clean up your website header. Your site loads from the top down. So whatever is at the top of your website can slow down your site if it's overloaded. So the simpler your header, the faster your site can load. We want to make sure that your header, especially in the version, is very light and simple, right? We include your logo, we include the main menu items. We don't need to have a major drop-down overload. And we want one clear call to action button like book now or get in touch or book your meet and greet, whatever you want that to be. and keep it simple. That's it. You don't really need everything in the kitchen sink up there. We can keep it really simple. Sometimes people like to add in even just saying what your business is. So like, pet sitter in San Diego, you can definitely do that because that's just a small little text box. But in general, we want to keep it as simple as possible. And bonus points that this will also improve your user experience and conversions as well, since visitors can simply just find what they need faster and they're not overwhelmed with what they need to do on your website. Okay, the last tip is to choose a reliable website provider. Your hosting platform plays a huge role in how fast your site loads. So if you're looking for a website provider, or perhaps you have one right now and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to stay and I'm going to look into a new one, what you want to look for is high performance and uptime. You want an uptime of like 99.9%. That's pretty standard now. Your website providers, like everything needs to be live 99.9% of the time. The server locations you want close to your audience. So if you are US based, you want some server locations in the US as well. You want built-in image optimization. Obviously, we still want to be compressing those images, but platforms like Wix also have a built-in automatic image optimization, which is really helpful for sizing and load speed time. And then we also want automatic caching. So Wix and Showit both now include this by default. So that's something that's super awesome, just to make sure that if somebody's been on your site already, it'll automatically cache it and then it loads faster in subsequent searches, which is super awesome. So if you go through these tips and your site is still loading slowly, even after doing all of these things, it may be worth switching your plan or your provider. A lot of website plans will have a certain capacity in terms of file size. So that's something that you can always look into, is upgrading your plan. But in most cases, like for most of our clients, we are not having massive websites that should lag with, how much file sizes there are. If you have a ton of video content, things like that, you may want to look into upgrading that. But I feel like for most of our clients, the lower tier plans are always fine unless they need some other type of features. I'm telling you, the main number one thing that I see when site load speed time is going to be a lot of animations. You have lots of videos uploaded into your site directly, and you have not compressed your images. Those are super, super, super important. And for pet businesses, I obviously still recommend Wix as a platform, not only because we design on it, but because it's consistently one of the top rated platforms for speed and reliability, and it's super beginner friendly. It's so easy to use. So just keep that in mind. If you do notice that you are experiencing low speed time on your website, check your images, make sure they're compressed, check your animations, make sure you're reducing those. Make sure that any videos on your website that you are embedding it from another platform rather than uploading it to your site. And just see if there's anything else that you can simplify, if there's any plugins and outdated apps and things like that that you can remove from your site, because it's likely that you don't need too many of those. All right, let's do a quick recap before we officially wrap up this episode. Here are the 7 things to do to help increase your site load speed time. Number 1, fix your broken links regularly. 2, delete unused plugins and apps. 3, reduce your animations and heavy effects on your website. 4, compress and rename your images. The renaming of the images doesn't help your site load speed time, but I have to add that in for SEO purposes. So compress all of your images and make sure that you are embedding video rather than uploading it to your site. Number 5, clean up and simplify your mobile site. This also applies to your desktop, but particularly your mobile site as well. Number 6, streamline your header and simplify that. And 7, use a reliable provider. Obviously, I like Wix, but most of your main popular providers are going to be all right, like Wix, Squarespace, Showit, and WordPress. So each of these small tweaks can make a huge difference in how quickly your site's loading, which means more visitors can stay on your website longer and more clients will be more likely to book your services. And if you're already using one of our pet business website templates, most of these speed optimizations are already built in. But obviously, as add in your own video and your own photos, that's where, your site can be impacted by load speed time, or if you're adding your own custom animation, things like that. So it's always still a great idea to give your site a little checkup to keep things running smoothly. That is all I have for you today. If you have found this episode helpful, it would mean the world if you could take 30 seconds to rate and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you're listening, because your feedback really helps more pet business owners find the show, and it helps us keep creating these free practical episodes like this one for you. Even while I am out on maternity leave, I have scheduled all of these episodes out ahead of time. And I love that I'm still able to continuously give you these episodes every other Tuesday. I appreciate you so much for listening all the way to the end, and I can't wait for you to hear our next episode coming soon. Thanks so much. Thanks for listening all the way to the end. I appreciate you being here, and if you enjoyed this episode, which I think you did because you're still here with me, then I want to invite you to check out our website templates over at petmarketingunleashed.com/shop. As a podcast listener, I know you're serious about taking your pet business to the next level, and your website is a crucial piece to making that happen. After all, your website is more than a digital business card. It's your virtual assistant, your marketing person, your booking manager, and it should be working for you around the clock, bringing in clients, saving you time, and growing your business. Our Pet Marketing Unleashed website templates are not just pretty. They're also strategically designed for your type of business, built with search rankings in mind, and are truly easy to customize so you can launch a successful website and streamline your operations. You'll also get access to our signature course that shows you how to write website copy like a pro, do foundational SEO, and set up your tech. So with a few clicks to customize, you have absolutely everything you need for a website that stands out from the pack. And as a thank you for being a loyal podcast listener, you can use the code PMUPodcast at checkout to get 10% off your website template. Again, that's PMUPodcast for 10% off your template. If you're ready to elevate your website and make it work as hard as you do, head over to petmarketingunleashed.com/shop and explore all our templates. Also, if you love this episode, sharing it with a fellow preppreneur or leaving a review and rating is a great way to support this podcast and keep it running. Thanks again for tuning in. I'll be back soon with a new episode.